this is my take on Nicki Minaj's No Frauds makeup. I got this little crown because I really thought it was really awesome that she was wearing a crown in the beginning, and I was like, that's some bad bitch-ish. So I got this crown and I just put my hair down in the center part the way she has it and brushed it down. This is my take on it. I hope you guys like it. I'm gonna leave all of the products that I used in the description bar. So if you like how this look came out, then keep on watching.
So I did my eyebrows off camera. I use Anastasia Dip Brow in chocolate. And now I'm going to prime my eyes with NYX eyeshadow base. So I'm just using a flat brush to do it. It's more like an eyeliner brush. And now I'm patting it in with my fingers to make sure it's even. And now I'm going to set it with some translucent powder to make sure it doesn't crease. Now I'm using Soft Brown by MAC. I'm starting with that in the crease. And I'm just going to buff it out with a ColourPop blending brush. Now I'm using Brown Down by MAC, and I'm also going to add that in the crease, and I'm kind of going to make it go a little bit triangular. As you can see, I'm kind of going up towards my inner brow and then bringing it down to give that kind of an eye shape. Now I'm going into my Morphe 35K palette. I love this palette so much, and the colors don't have names obviously, so this is the color that I'm going to be using from that palette. Once again, also to deepen up more of my outer crease, and I'm dragging it in once again into that triangular shape a little bit, and I'm buffing it in with that brush. Now with my Naked palette, I'm taking the color Half Baked, and I'm putting that on my lid because she had something kind of shimmery goldish, and I loved how that looked. Now I'm taking kind of a tapered brush, which would kind of be like the equivalent of a 227 from MAC, and I'm also just buffing it into my crease some more. Now I'm using Wet n Wild Precious Petals Mega Glow Highlighting Powder, and I'm using that as my brow bone highlight, and I'm also going to use that in the inner corners of my tear duct to brighten up my eyes a little bit. Now I'm going to cheat and use some tape to get a really good winged line. I'm using the NYC liquid liner in obviously black. I think this is discontinued, which I'm really, really sad about. So I ran to the drugstore and whatever they had left, I picked them up. So this is what I'm actually using to line my eyes with this black liquid liner to get that winged liner look that Nicki's so famous for. There we go. So now I'm just removing the tape, and I'm just touching it up a little bit in spaces that I feel might be sparse or not dark enough. I'm just going back in with the liquid liner. Now I'm using my concealer. This is the LA Girl concealer in the color Pure Beige, and I'm just gonna kind of perfect that line a little bit with some concealer and that same brush that I used to prime. Now I'm adding some lashes. I actually had eyelash extensions at the time, but I just felt like they weren't enough, so I'm adding I Envy by Kiss in the number 43. Now I'm going to prime my face with Benefit's Professional Primer. I'm going to use this foundation, Maybelline Fit Me foundation rather. And now I'm going to add a bit of Sephora illuminating drops just to give me more of a glow. I'm buffing it in with a buffing brush. And basically, yeah, that's it. I'm just going to buff that in and rub it in. Now once again, my LA Girl concealer in the color Pure Beige as my highlight. I'm buffing that in with a beauty blender just to blend that out. Now I'm setting that with my Sasha translucent powder. They're famous for their buttercup, but I'm using the translucent. Now I'm gonna set my whole face with some Sephora mineralized powder in the color, I'm not sure actually. Anyway, now this is Anastasia's contour palette in Tan to Deep. I'm not exactly sure which color this one is. It's the pre-made palette. I didn't make it myself. So now what I'm doing is I like to use my powder brush to kind of buff in my contour so it's not as harsh. So I'm going back to my Precious Petals by Wet n Wild as my highlight. I absolutely love this highlighter. I often was using Champagne Pop by Becca, which I still really, really, really love. But this Precious Petal is just slaying my life right now. So I'm just highlighting over my brows, my cheekbones, my chin, my Cupid's bow, the tip of my nose. I'm going to use a random Sephora gloss. I forget the color of it. And I'm also going to use NYX Butter Gloss in the color Creme Brulee. The name is gone off of that Sephora lip gloss. And I think it's discontinued anyway. But I just love it so much. As you can see, I'm squeezing the last ends out of it. My mascara, I'm using Manga Eyes by L'Oreal for my bottom lashes because my top lashes, like I said at the time, had eyelash extensions, so I didn't really want to add too much mascara to them since they were still fairly new, and I wanted to preserve them as long as possible. And there you go. Thanks for watching.